Welcome to Pencils and Lipstick. This is a podcast for indie authors. I'm Kat Caldwell, novelist, short story writer, and book coach. Here on Pencils and Lipstick, we're obsessed with all things story, and it is my goal to bring you the writing tips that you need to make your novel come to life. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Pencils and Lipstick. This is episode 284 of the podcast, and today I am recording this part a little bit early because I am heading out to Charleston. Yes. So when this goes out, it will be October 27th, 2025. Wow, I just went backwards 6 months or maybe forwards. I don't know what I was thinking. Today, it's the end of April. Whenever you're listening to this, it will be probably closer to Christmas than seems absolutely physically possible. And I thought that would be a good time to talk about marketing. I think the last quarter of the year is a great time to assess not only your writing, but your marketing of your books. It's probably too late at this point to get on any sort of marketing bandwagon. You know, there might be a few sales or in-person things you can do, but many of those in this holiday season have already been filled. So what I want to do with this episode, we're talking with Becky Grogan. We're going to be really looking towards the future, not only with whatever book you have, but maybe even with the books that you already have put out. But let's think about 2026, if that's, again, mind blown, right? But marketing is something that every author has to do. It is not usually something we're really awesome at because we're writers, right? But Becky is unique. She's actually a fiction coach as well, book coach. But she found out that a lot of writers don't know how to market. And yes, she's right. We don't, right? So she has created her book coaching around marketing. So she says that she helps fiction writers make sense of marketing without losing their voice. And she has quite a few tips in here in this interview that's coming up that you are probably going to want to listen to. Just gold. There are things that she said that I was like writing down and I couldn't believe that she was making it sound so simple, but I hadn't thought of it before, right? And that's kind of what we want marketing to be, like simple, right? I can do that. I can make sense of it, especially once somebody makes it make sense, right? So she helps you clarify your unique brand identity and voice, pinpoint your ideal reader, and begin growing your audience, craft a personalized book marketing strategy. So if you go onto her website, which is beckythebookcoach.com, links are in the show notes, you can see how you can work with her if any of this resonates with you, or just understanding, maybe you're in your first book or you're just now getting started with marketing, maybe just understanding what book marketing involves, right? So I think that you guys should continue listening to the interview. That's about all I'm going to have for you today. Like as of now in my writing life, I have this little trip that I have to make. I'm trying to write as well. And when I come back in November, we're going to have a couple other interviews going on. But I have an idea of maybe switching up the podcast a little bit, but I'll tell you guys a little bit more about that in the coming weeks. Not a whole lot is going to change, but just an idea of how we can implement, a little bit more writing craft. But you guys let me know what you want. If you want somebody on the show, you can send them to katcaldwell.com and fill out the contact form there. You can hit me up on Instagram. DMs on TikTok are a bit odd, right? But you can try me there. You can also get on my newsletter and respond to any newsletter that comes out. You do have to have 3 books out in order to get on the show, or you have to have some sort of software or something that you think is ideal for indie authors. But yeah, let me know. Or if you guys have somebody you want on the show, let me know. I'll contact them, see what they say. Many writers say yes. And I had Jasper Ford on the show because somebody requested him specifically. And it was really fun to talk to him. So all of that. be sure to subscribe. I never say this part, but subscribe and share the show. It is a small podcast, but I love all of you guys who listen. I love seeing the steady numbers coming in and just all over the world. So, yeah, and especially if you're somebody across the pond or anywhere else in the world, I would love to hear what's going on in the book marketing world or the book world wherever you live. So, if you want to come on the show, if you want an author who is not American, I think I've had American, Australian, and Canadian and British, but and Scottish. Okay. So, but if you want somebody else on the show, as long as they speak English, you can have them on the show. I mean, we could do the interview in Spanish, but the audience wouldn't really be able to, not all of you would be able to understand it. But yes, please let me know who you want on the show, especially for 2026. It would be fun to get some different people. I'm looking at getting some people who have set up a business around books, even though they aren't authors, maybe like a local bookstore owner or a blind date with a book owner. I think it would be really interesting to see how they set that up and maybe how they work with authors if that interests you guys. So let me know. But right now, we're going to talk about marketing because I am always in the marketing trenches. I think a lot of you are. If you're on your first book, there are things that you should do that I did not do because I didn't know about them way back in 2017. And I'm not sure that I would have had the courage to do them anyway, but I'm here to tell you that you should have the courage to do them. Listen to Becky, contemplate contemplate what she says, try to implement it because really, if you want your book in front of people, you are going to have to market it. I know it sucks, but this is part of this modern way of writing, right? So let's get into the interview. Of course, all of the links are in the show notes below. I highly encourage you, if you resonate with Becky, to go to her website. You can go to her services and you can get a mini marketing audit. You can have her help you build your marketing foundation, or she has a group coaching marketing collective. So I highly encourage you to go talk to her, listen to the interview, see what Becky's doing, and figure out some sort of marketing strategy for 2026 for your books. All right, let's get into the interview. We are here. We are talking with Becky Grogan today, and my surprise question for her is: have you heard the new album yet? It dropped today.
I have been waiting. I have heard snippets. I have not listened to all of the songs, but I'm sorry. I am a Taylor Swifty, Swifty, Swifty. Love
you
her.
you are the biggest Swifty I know, so I had to ask. So now people are going to go backwards and be like, "Oh, they recorded on that day."
Yeah, so I've been watching the news, but I was like, I need to get things done this morning, so let's just don't
So
start
let's
listening to the album.
be still
Like,
my heart.
yeah, let's just be calm. You can be her grandmother, but I have a lot of admiration for her because she
Oh my
she kicks
gosh.
it.
Oh my gosh.
Just,
I mean,
yeah.
she is the epitome of what we're going to talk about today. She is an incredible businesswoman and marketer. Like
Yes, she is.
so good. She
Yeah.
knows her audience, she knows her music, she knows her brand, her style, like and she went for it and it's like that's what we need to do. I mean,
I mean,
she's
you
so far
really
above us.
But you can watch her and you can learn just by watching what she does, the way she talks to people, the really deep connection she has with her fans, obviously.
Yes.
But she does things in a very genuine manner, and that's the key. I think
Yes.
you see what you see, and that's who she is.
That's
And
who she is.
yeah,
Oh, so
and
let's
that's
talk
why.
about marketing because you are a book coach. You specialize in romance, correct? Is it any
Yes.
romance or contemporary?
All romance.
All
Because
romance.
I am my favorite. If I have to choose a favorite, it's going to be holiday romance and working the
Ooh,
setting in as a character. I think that the holiday setting can act as a catalyst in the story.
yeah.
That's a whole different thing. But that's my super fun. Like I love it. Love it. Love it. I love writers.
But
Writers are
what
awesome.
holiday? What holiday is least written about?
There's not a lot of writing about pagan holidays.
There isn't.
No,
Yeah.
but it's with the rise in fall theme. And Halloween being so big, there's been a lot of books, romances written about that. And I think there's a lot now that are being written about witches and shapeshifters and all of that. But there's a lot of paganism in there that's very interesting. And when you look
Hmm.
at it, how it has influenced. our Christian holidays.
Yeah.
There's
Yep.
just so much
The
to learn. And I think that,
superstitions.
yes, and every holiday can be in a book. There's none that can't.
Yeah. I mean, I think Christmas is so it's almost it's easier because it's at least a 2 week thing or like,
Yeah.
gearing up towards it. Like you have a little more time, but I don't think there's a lot. I was talking to a Jewish romance writer and she was like, I think my book is the only Hanukkah book out there. Like there aren't a lot of Hanukkah books.
No, well, you're very right about that. But I mean, there's just an opportunity there. I think when you have the setting and the time frame is within
Mm,
a holiday, there's so many ways to that the characters relate to it because every holiday brings out emotions
yeah.
and
Yeah.
and they make you act in certain ways. And like I always think it's so funny. I was like, I think more Thanksgiving ones because everybody needs to sit around the table and the main beautiful female character needs to pull out her stretchy pants and be like, oh yeah.
Yeah, and she needs to actually eat.
She
I
needs to
always have
actually
my
eat.
yes, I always have my characters eating because it just drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Although I watched the ways to get rid of a guy. What is that one? Matthew
Hmm.
McConaughey.
50 ways to no.
No, something.
No.
Yeah, I
How
feel
to
like
lose a
there's a
guy in
number
10
there.
days or something
Yes,
with
how to lose a
rich
guy in
people.
10
I
days.
love it.
And she's always eating, but she's so tiny that you're like, I feel like that's BS.
It
Because
is
she's
because she
so
is so
like,
tiny, but she's so funny and so much in that movie. I don't know if you realize this. She ad-libbed.
did she?
So yeah,
She's
so
so
like
fun. I
there's
would love to
there's
meet her.
yeah, the scene where they're sitting at the table and they're playing poker, and she picks up the plant and goes, "This is our," she's like just going off, and they're all like, it was so hilarious, and she ad-libbed that whole
She
scene.
ad-libbed it. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. Yeah, I love her.
Yeah.
I love her. So let's get back. You and
Okay.
I can chat forever.
Yes.
We've chatted about the whole world at this point, but you are I know you because of Author Accelerator, so you are a certified coach, and
Yeah.
then you've been marketing for
Mhm. Ever.
ever.
Yes.
And you've done the serious marketing and now you're doing book
I have done,
marketing.
marketing for me started early, early on. My dad's a DJ, so well,
Oh,
he passed away,
that's
but so I grew
fun.
up with, he at that time, if you were a DJ, you had to do your sales as well. So you had to go out and get the
Oh,
clients. And my father hated to write. So by the time
okay.
I was like fourth grade, he said, all right, I want you to write some spots for me. And I'm like, okay. So he's like, all right, 13 lines, 30 seconds, 26 lines, 1 minute. Here's Belk, here's JC Penney. This is what they want you to, focus on. Use lots of pretty words. I'm like, okay. So I just started writing spots for him and he would record them. And
Oh, that's
I
amazing.
it was so fun. And I started really seeing where it just didn't have to be. And if you love a pink Easter bonnet, come to J.C. Penney for their 30% off sale. No,
Yeah.
it became more of like a story kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'd always been a reader, and I can't live without a book. I'm one of those people. I have to read like 3 books at a time. I'm
Yes.
yeah, and I always had my book in on my stack of books with my book on top, and any chance I'd be like,
Exactly. Exactly. I loved
yeah,
growing up without a phone because I would rush through my tests, then I'd grab my
yes,
book.
exactly. And I remember my ninth grade Mrs. Pretorius. She said, and she was so mean. Everybody was afraid of her. I liked her. She said, "Where did you learn your vocabulary?" And I pulled out and I put up a Harlequin romance. I'm like, "From here?" And she's like, "No." I'm like, "Yes. Look at
Yes,
how
I
many
did.
good words are in here." And really, it
Yes.
there's lots to learn. And she was just surprised. And I was like, "No, this is what
I
this
know. Well, she was probably like my grandma, my step grandma, who would look at the cover and be like, you can't read
trash."
that. And then when I finally, yes, it was trash. And who that only uneducated women read that. Of course, most of my family didn't read it. So it's like, okay, whatever. In northern Wisconsin. I
Yeah.
started reading those. They're amazing. Have you read Flowers from in the Storm, where he has a stroke at the very beginning?
This is a Harlequin?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. They've advanced. They
Oh
have
no,
advanced.
this is like really. Oh, okay. We'll talk afterwards. I'll let
Okay,
you know.
because
Oh,
I
it's
have a whole
amazing.
Harlequin story, and it's how I got through sixth grade. I have to tell
Okay.
it. You can edit
Okay.
it out.
It's sixth grade.
So my sixth grade teacher, Mrs. Fry, had a bookcase in the back, and it had 4 shelves, and it was nothing but Harlequins. They were
That's so
complete.
funny.
And so she would say, if you get your work done, you can pick up a Harlequin. If you've done all of your assignments for the week and you've done blah, 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 then you can take them home with you. You can like check my Harlequins out. I read every book,
That
every
is
one
so
that
funny.
on her shelf. And she still called me pea brain, but
I think you'd get in trouble these days for that.
I know I loved her though.
That's so funny. I wonder where she got that from.
She believed that that learning did not have to be just from textbooks, and
Yeah,
that
I
if you
love that.
capture the interest of a student, no matter, that you should capitalize on that. And all of the girls in the class, we were like, "Have you read this one? Oh, oh,"
And they're
like,
all historical. Most isn't Harlequin
no,
all
no,
his? No,
no,
they're not.
they're contemporary.
Okay,
Um, they do have, they have the different the
but
different
you
brands,
wrote the
they have the
contemporary.
historical, they have the ones that
Okay,
were like all about doctors, they have the Western one, but Janet Daly started as a Harlequin
and
writer.
wasn't Harlequin where they had to write like within what was it, 80,000 words, or maybe it was
They're,
less?
they were very short. They
Okay,
were very formulaic. And what was interesting to me was that a lot of them were written in the UK. And so I would read these and I'm like, I don't understand what that means. So
what
I
does
had
that
to go
word?
and ask, or I had to look up something from a
Yeah,
dictionary or an
interesting.
encyclopedia because there was no internet. And so you really started, I love words anyway. To me, words are just fascinating.
Yeah.
Um, and so it was like it was a way to learn, and it just kept feeding this curiosity I had about writing and reading and how important it is. And I tell everybody, you can live without math, but you can't live without words.
You really can't, because I've
You
lived my
can't.
whole life without math.
Me too. Math. Oh,
Much to my husband's dismay when he's like, your business is not lining, your books are not lining up. Anyway,
oh,
that's fine.
I got that from my husband the other day. He's like, how can I'm like, just
Just pay the credit card bill, honey. It will come. It's fine.
yes. I'm like, my IOU is getting really
It
heavy
was
over
really long. So I think um there is kind of an influx of, well, I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm in this world. There are more of us who are coaching writers, right? We're helping them get a better product to market, because really you need a good product, right? Like
here.
Taylor Swift does not record her first round. There are
Yeah.
iterations she is
There's
writing, and
revisions.
there
Yeah.
are revisions. I think we forget this, right? So as writers, but your expertise as a marketer, I think, makes you really interesting as a coach, because marketing seems to be the thing that we are so afraid of. Like,
Yes.
because we just don't know what it is. And you said that you started in fourth grade, and I'm wondering if maybe that childlike attitude is actually what we're missing, of like, I think
There's
we're so
nothing to be
afraid of
afraid of.
failing.
And I do have to say, and having been a marketer in corporate America for a very long time and seeing the industry and how people look at the industry and how people within the industry, there's so many catchphrases and special words, and it's got to be like that. And people get like, oh, I don't know how to do that. I
Yeah.
don't know what ROI is and KDP, all these things. It's like, you don't need that. And
Yeah.
that always really frustrated me because marketing is not sales. And that's the other thing that
Okay.
people cannot differentiate. Marketing
Okay.
is not sales. You're not closing a deal. You are making a connection and you are getting
Mm,
to the heart of the decision. So
okay.
really, if I know what you want, what's in your heart, something that, for instance, if you are trying to choose a retirement community and there are certain things that are important to you, yes, the money is going to make a big deal. It
Mhm.
always does. But that's not why people go to a certain place. They go because they see themselves moving around, being active. Their kids are no longer responsible, don't have to worry about what's going to happen to mom and dad because they're taking care of it. And
Right.
you address the issue with the people who are sitting across from you
Okay.
and you're giving them information. That's all you're doing. You are giving them information and you are connecting with them and finding out what is it that you want.
Interesting. So do you think we mostly conflate it with sales? Do you
Oh
think that's
yeah,
part of the problem?
absolutely. And that's
Okay.
why people they're like, oh, marketing. It's like, no, no, no. We're the story behind the sale. So
Okay.
if you think about and that's why writers I don't understand they have every tool in their toolbox that they need. already.
Mm,
They can tell a story. They know how to use their words. They are able to connect with people. And that's, it's transformative. And that's all that marketing is I'm connecting with my reader. And how do I do that in an authentic manner that is not about selling the book at that point, because you have to develop an audience before you can generate income. So
right.
that's the pattern. You just can't think that I've written this book, the end is on that last page, and look, I'm gonna sell nothing because
Yeah.
no
Literally
one's waiting for that book because they don't know why you're writing, who you're writing
who
for,
you're
who are
writing.
you,
Mm,
and those very basic questions um, don't have to be overwhelming,
yeah.
because I follow my favorite writers and I feel like I know them and that I could
Okay.
call up and be like, hey, Lucy Score, can you take a picture of my cat? That kind of thing. I mean,
Yeah. You
they're
feel very connected to that.
yes, I
Okay.
do.
So I think as a writer, let's say mostly anyone listening is probably has at least one out. Um, I think a lot of us have heard the term, like you have to start marketing before or find your audience before you finish the
Mhm.
book. And even back in 2017, when I finally hit publish, my whole brain was like, talk about what, like, and I went through several iterations of like what the writing process is like or whatever. I think it was so difficult to figure out that they wanted to hear about me, but then that balance of like how much you post about your breakfast versus like what are you actually here for. So
Yeah.
how are you guiding authors, whether they're just writing their book now or they realize they have to go backwards and start.
Well, the going backwards is hard. I'm not going to lie to anybody. When you are trying to develop an audience off of a book that's already finished,
Mm-hmm.
it's really hard to what's my word? Generate.
Generate.
To generate enthusiasm and
Okay.
excitement because the thing is, you are it's you first. So I want to know about Kat. And I
Mm-hmm.
want you as a writer, first of all, you need to make sure you're appealing to your actual target audience and not just everybody in the
Yeah.
world, because that's not how it works.
Yes.
And so you have to start working on the connection and you have to start with yourself because I'm not going to buy your book. I'm buying Kat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
I
think we
want,
forget that.
yes, and writers, most of most writers I worked with are introverted. So it's very difficult
Yes.
for one, them to believe that anybody cares about them, which
Yeah.
is not true. Or that, they're like, well, what if, my private life is my private life. And I was like, that's fine. That is absolutely fine. And that's part of your brand is the respect that, like the one author I work with, he's like, my family did not ask for this. They did not ask
Mm-hmm.
to be, have
Right.
their father be in the limelight and all of these different things. And he goes, I will not put them anywhere near my marketing for my book. So I'm like, understood. And
Right.
I respect that because you are a family man,
Mm-hmm.
but you also have this career that puts you in front of people. So, you
Yeah.
know, all those, everything that everybody does, their marketing has to be unique to them. Like I would
Okay.
never market for you the way I would market for another writer
Sure.
because you're different. And
Sure.
when I work with writers, they look at me funny because I'm like, all right, we're going to talk about your core values. And they're like, what? I'm like, your core values, do you know what they are? Okay. And then it's
Like,
like, why? Why
yeah.
do I need to? Because you want to be authentic. You want people to know you, and your writing reflects, whether you realize it or not,
Mm-hmm.
who you are as a person, as a writer, because your experiences go into
Right.
your books. And
Yes.
so it's like, what do you write about and why? Why is that important?
Mm-hmm.
And why are you as a writer writing about these topics? Why are you choosing these things? Why are they
Yeah.
important to you? And
Okay.
so, yeah, I was working with the writer and she went through her core values and I'm like, I don't think that this is necessarily one of your core values. Let's sit and talk about this for a minute. And
Okay.
when you understand your core values and you understand who your ideal reader is, then you know how to message and use content that
Mm.
will be relatable. for that
That
reader.
makes so much sense though. And
Uh-huh.
especially if you look at what you write, because it's a, I don't know who it was, but years ago, somebody was like, what is the recurring theme you constantly write about? And your first answer as a writer, it's so funny when you're coaching people, you hear this. It was my first answer, and it's now my client's first answer is everything. I write about everything. And
I
like,
write
no,
about
you
everything. No,
don't.
you don't.
You don't. You go back and you look, and I realize I write always. There's always some element of a woman's past does not define her future. Like if you can break it down to that, it doesn't, it's, it's not like specifically, written in
Yeah,
the book, but
yeah.
it's always that sort of thing. So if you look back at your writing, what you've always loved writing about or like interested in, or maybe the stories you're looking to read, usually that's where you're going to find your core values.
Yeah.
So like when you're talking about core values, you're talking about more as a brand more than, because it's almost like you could pick out anything. You know what I
No,
mean?
but you
So how
can't.
are you narrowing that down?
So when I think of a core value, and when I've gone through different coaching with outside coaches and we've discussed this, your core values are
Mm,
yours. It's not what your mom and
okay.
dad told you. It's not what
Mm,
society tells you. You look through a lens of, in my soul,
mm-hmm.
what makes my life fulfilling? What are the things I cannot live without?
Interesting.
And when you start thinking about it, and then you start thinking, okay, and I use my son as an example a lot because one of the things that I always told him, which thank goodness he listened, is that, trust and honesty,
Yeah.
don't lie to yourself.
Yeah.
I want to tell people the truth. I don't think we do anybody a service if we lie to them, and
No.
especially in a coaching situation.
And you're
Now,
gonna get found out.
yes, exactly. But I always told him, I said, here's what I live by. If I look myself in the mirror and I go, oh, mm, that's not a good thing to do, then I know
Yeah.
that I am not being true to what my values are, which are
Right.
authentic and honest, and to not, be aware of
Mm-hmm.
how I feel and who I am, and keep that self-awareness and that authenticity to the front. Because if I don't do that, I
Yeah.
feel like crap.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't feel good. And then
Yeah.
I wonder why I don't feel good. And if I actually sit down and think about it, it's like, mm, did
Yeah.
I take that job because I really thought it was something I wanted to do, or did I just want the money? Now, sometimes the money is
Yeah.
all you can, you got to do that. But you have to think about it like,
Mm.
why do I feel like this? What
Okay.
what is inside of me that's making me feel uncomfortable? And if you're not comfortable with the decision, then it's not the right decision.
Not for you. Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
for you, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to teach writers to first understand themselves,
Yeah.
what they are putting out there to the world. And that doesn't
Yes.
mean you have to be, um, you don't need a persona, you don't need any of that. If you choose to do that, that's certainly, you're free to do that. But when you really sit down and you think about, why am I writing this? Why is it so important? What messages do I see in here?
Mm.
And you will start to notice that, as you said, there'll be reoccurring themes, and those are coming from inside of you, in the important parts of you that
Yeah.
you're communicating with your reader, because you want your reader to be transformed in some way. And
Right. Right.
so, obviously, as a woman, and you as a woman, understand that, and I agree, your past does not define you, but you learn from it. And
Right.
so
Oh, my
that's,
characters learn from
yeah,
it.
yeah. And so, but that's the important thing.
Yeah.
And that's where, when you're talking to your readers, or when you start developing your platform, however that's going to be with your readers, that's what your readers want to know.
Okay.
You know, so that, and the taking the reader, when you first start writing your book, one of the things I always say, and this is where, as a marketer and not necessarily a writer, I can back up and look
Mm-hmm.
at a big picture and say, okay, Kat, this is a great idea. What's your end game? What
Mm.
is going to be your thoughts for when this book is finished? What do
Okay.
you want? And if you say, oh, I just want to show it to my family, okay, that's great. Or if I want to be traditionally published, that's a whole different path. I want to
Yeah.
publish indie, that's a whole different path.
Yeah.
And so nobody wants their work to be a product. But it is. It will
Yeah.
become a
It,
product, and it's very difficult to let go of it because it's your baby.
mhm.
And so it's hard to step back from it. But then if you don't step back and look at where you want this book to go, the book is going nowhere
It
because
really
there's
won't
nobody
go
to read
anywhere.
it.
Yep. No, and especially these days, because a lot of people, um, especially like 40 and older over, we grew up in a completely different world where you
Mhm.
pulled books off of the shelf because they were the books that were there, right? Like now we have
Your choices were
options.
limited. Yeah.
We have millions of books published every year, like for better because I love being an indie author and I don't have any gatekeeper, but for worse because you are competing with amazing books, not so amazing books, and your book
Yeah.
is somewhere in there and people
It's
have to
somewhere
find
in
you.
there.
And I love what you're
Hmm.
saying is like they're looking for you. So like if I get a Nora Roberts notification, I don't never met her, but I know her as a writer, right? Like I know
Yes.
I'm going to go
Mhm.
buy that or I'm not going to buy that, whatever, people like. So really we are selling we're not selling, we're like, we have to get to know them or like at least that they can feel like
So
they know us, right? I mean, we
the
feel like we
marketing
know
thing,
Taylor Swift.
yeah, well, she would come and have dinner with me. I know she would because
I
that's,
think she
you
would
know,
love me.
she would, yeah, we'd be besties. I could be her grandmother. I'll knit or something. No, I don't knit. Ugh. But you have to really think of it as the connection, and people need to know, like, and trust you. And they can't
Oh,
do
yeah.
that
I like
just
that.
because you produced a book. It's a
Yes.
wonderful thing. I mean, to me, anybody that can write the end and you have written a book, good, bad, and different, but you have finished it,
I mean, it's
it's
amazing.
huge. That's huge. But it's more than that.
Yeah. Yes.
There's many layers to this and how it works, and um, knowing your audience and letting your audience see. I just think it's so funny. I am a huge Lucy Score fan. I love her, and she's just a nutball.
Is
She's just,
she?
she's just, she's, here's a picture of me sitting on the couch. I'm supposed to be writing, but I'm eating a taco. And then I'm going to eat some ice cream because I can't write another word.
Yeah.
I'm so tired. I'm stuck. And then people start responding to her. Oh, well, what you should do is blah, 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 blah. Have you go take a walk. It'll come back to you. And all of a sudden she's getting support and comments
Yeah.
from
Yeah. Yeah.
the people that are reading her books. And I know that as a reader myself, if there are authors I follow and they recommend another writer, I will go straight to that writer.
Hmm.
And that's where I have seen a change, and I love this change. I have seen more collaboration and more sharing in the publishing industry since indie publishing, because we all
Right.
know you're not on an island. You can't
No.
be.
And you
You
can't
write in
produce enough
silence.
books.
Yeah, but you write in silence, but you can't
Yeah.
be alone.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
know, you need people to support you. And that's a big part of what I try to get the end point for the writers I'm working with. It's like we need to set up a network. Yes, we're looking for your audience, but we also need you to have a network of other writers and
Right.
people who can help you. And when you all work together, if you're in a group and there's 20 writers in there and you're getting ready to publish and you say, can you share this? Okay, look at what you've just done.
Yeah.
You've got 20
Yeah.
people on 20 different platforms sharing the stuff. And there's plenty of readers to go
Yeah.
around. You don't have
It,
to.
exactly. But you also have to be that person that's contributing. So
Mhm.
if you don't have a platform, if you haven't done any work to find any readership to share their book when the time
Right.
comes, and there's where it gets a little,
Mhm.
we're also focused, I feel like sometimes, which is not a bad thing. You have to finish the book, right? Like you have to
Right.
keep going. You have to finish the book, especially if you have already gotten the first one and and
You're
life goes
waiting. Yeah.
crazy. And a lot of times you have kids or partners or whatever. So, um, but you still kind of, I tell some people sometimes if you think of it as like contributing to the indie author group, are you more likely to do it? Like sometimes we're more likely to do it for others than we are for ourselves, even
Yes.
if it benefits yourself. but to be the person that somebody comes to and says, if Lucy Score came to me and asked me to share her book, I'd be like, right on, like absolutely. But I would want there to be an audience there, right? I don't want to, like you said, I don't want to lie and be like, yeah, I got 100 people on Instagram, I can share that too. That's pretty much zero.
Yeah. And so, yes, there is a responsibility. Every writer has a responsibility. If you are trying to meet a goal
Mm-hmm.
and you want to be a responsible citizen in this literary world,
Right.
and there's always work involved. It is not
Mm-hmm.
a freebie in any way, shape, or form. And just as it's hard to write, it can be hard to market. If your mindset's not right and you are
Okay.
afraid or overwhelmed, that's not how to market. You
Mm,
can't do it from that
right.
standpoint. So that's another thing I work on with writers is like, let's look at what do you think a successful marketing strategy looks like?
Okay.
And they're like, well, I have a bazillion, people on TikTok. Okay, well, are they your ideal reader?
Mm,
Oh, I will. It's like,
yeah.
let's be really specific and very
Mm,
um, niched with what you're looking at. Now,
right.
your audience can increase and it can expand. Say, for instance, you are writing contemporary women's fiction, and then you go, you know what, I'm going into like romantasy.
Mm-hmm.
So things will change, right,
Sure.
in how you
Sure.
market. But your core values and who you are do
Mm,
not change.
yes. Yes.
And if
Yes.
you are really understanding of why you're doing what you're doing, then that comes through. And honestly, people are just tired of the crap. I
Yeah.
want to, I
No.
want, I
Yes.
want a writer that says, you know what? I can't do this today. I really can't. I have nothing left. I'm empty. I'm not sure what to do. I'm going to back off. And I'm telling you, I'm going to back off. You're not going to hear from me for a week, whatever. People automatically do want to help. They
Yeah.
do. It's our
Right.
nature. So that's the other thing is that we're afraid to ask.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
And and I think particularly as women, I'm only speaking for myself, but I know that I was taught growing up, stay in the background, don't put yourself forward, do not ever blow
Yeah.
your horn because that's so unattractive in a Southern woman. And it's like, but I did nope. Mm-mm. It compliments
Yeah.
just
You let other people blow toot your horn, except if no one knows.
yes,
Like,
nobody's tooting my horn because nobody knows what I'm doing, right? So
yes, and that
um
is a like a deep psychological problem of like, well, I think they should just buy my book. And like, but the reality is if no one knows it's there.
that's right.
And
And we've seen it, we've
yeah,
experienced it firsthand when someone works so hard and they think that hard work is enough. And well, maybe in the world it should be enough, but
right.
it's just not
It's just
sometimes.
not right.
And it's very hard to tell people that. It's not an easy thing to tell people that this thing that has come from so deep within you is now going to be something that you have to look at like a product.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like when you sell a house, they're not going to like your furniture. They're not going to like your colors. And it's like you've got to step back from
Yeah.
that and be realistic about what's going to happen. Um,
Yes. Yeah. It's a
but
whole different cap to wear,
yes,
right?
yes, it's a different hat, but it's also the overwhelm part of it is, I
Okay.
think, because you're looking around and you see all these people that you assume are so successful because they're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, blah, blah, blah. But what's the context? And are they really reaching the people they need to reach? And do you have to do all of that? No.
Yeah, I constantly ask that. So I think the more you can niche, the slower you can grow because
Mhm.
I have done all the things. I have
Mhm.
had to purge my mailing list because I was paying for people who were not clicking, who were not buying. It
Yeah.
the number looked
Yeah.
great,
Hmm.
especially when people would ask me, "Can you share this? Oh, you have 6,000 people that you have 10,000 people." Behind the scenes you go, no, this thing needs to be purged down because
Yeah.
if nobody's clicking, then I'd rather have 3,000 who click, who
Yes.
open.
Well, and I think too that people think I've got no place to start.
Okay,
And
so where do they
that's
start?
that's not true either. Okay, so I tend to like marketing when it's more organic.
Okay.
I think that each writer if they look at what they're comfortable with and what they can do. Because you know what? The thing about marketing, it has to be consistent. And if you can't
Mm.
keep up the pace or you can't keep up with 10 different channels that you're trying to pursue, you're getting nowhere.
Oh
So
no, you'll drive yourself insane.
yeah, you can drive yourself insane. And all of a sudden you're like, I can't afford this. Like, and because
Yeah.
first of all, you don't have to have a lot of money to do marketing. You really don't.
Oh, that's an interesting little point there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, let's think about it. If you are, right, I'm moving to a new town, right? I don't know
Mm-hmm.
anybody. And I am myself thinking, how do I promote my business?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to the library and I'm offering, two free 1 hour long courses on writing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to talk about book coaching because I want to, one, be part of my community, but
Mm-hmm.
two, I have to tell people what I do, right? And so
Yep.
you go where the
Yep.
books are. I saw that someone was they're opening up an indie bookstore and they were like, we need ideas. I said, would it benefit you if you had a writing coach come in and do 3 free sessions for you, a half an hour each or whatever? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, awesome, I'll do that because
Yeah.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about what I love, right? It's what I
Right. And that's easy to
and
do.
that's how one person in that group
Mm-hmm.
says, oh gosh, I love cat. Let me tell my friend about cat.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's what you need to get
And that's
you
what
got
you
to
need.
get out there somehow, right? So,
You do, but you start with whoever you know. And
okay.
that's the other thing is that we tend to not look right in front of us for what we need. We tend to look
Mm-hmm.
this way because we're thinking
Okay.
big, gotta get big. New York
Yeah.
Times, best-selling author. Blah, blah.
Yeah.
Okay, you've got to start small, start with what you know, and you have to figure out, you know, do I if I'm writing Christian romance and I'm a member of a church, does it not make total sense to say, hey, I'm writing a Christian romance? Would y'all like to hear about it? Could we do like a roundtable? Or would you be willing to share this? And people are like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, that's your first step. And it's that easy. And it
Mm.
doesn't have to cost you anything. So that's one of the things I love watching people go, "Oh, and you just did it."
Yep.
Like, ah,
Yep.
that's organic marketing. And that is, I think, as we watch all of these social media channels and how crazy they are and how big they are, and it's so hard to create a presence.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, they're not reputable. A lot of them are not reputable. And
No.
it's like you're just scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. And we all do it because I do it.
Yes,
A lot
I've
of
never
you.
bought a book from Instagram, I will say. I have from TikTok.
Yeah. But, if that's your platform, then that's your platform. That's what you choose. That's what you're comfortable with, but you don't have to. And
Right.
I notice, especially when I'm working with older writers, they're like, I
It's a
hate
lot.
Facebook and I hate this. And it's like, okay, let's see once we have developed and you understand your core values, where does that fit in with your
You're
marketing?
right, 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 right.
Where does that work for you? Because again, if you don't like it and you're not comfortable with it, you're not going to do it and you're just going to be wasting time
Mm.
and you're just going to frustrate yourself. So,
So then you're saying like if you find your core values, so there's a lot of places that are I would say authors hear about, right? So we need our newsletter or Substack or social media.
mhm.
TikTok became really big last year. Um, so everyone's always the shiny penny, right? They're always running towards
Yeah,
that.
the shiny penny. Yeah.
But what I'm hearing from you is if you find your core values, you're going to be able to better fit in where that
And figure
audience
out
is.
why are you trying to be a TikToker if you hate it? You don't like to be in front of people. You don't want to be on camera. Well, just listen to that. That's like, okay, that's not going to work. But
Right.
you're going to try, 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 and
So
then
much
be
energy.
crying in the
Yeah.
corner because you like,
Well, like
no,
you said, it's almost lying to yourself. Like
yeah.
you're trying to be
Like,
someone
why are
that you're
you
not,
doing
right?
this?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of Facebook.
It's getting really boring.
Yeah. And so people be like, well, you're a marketer, you're not on Facebook. Okay. I'd
Yep.
rather talk to people. I would rather, like I said, go to my library or do something like this,
Mm-hmm.
look and research and find out where are the people that might need my services. Because when you look at it in a way of, at least for me, I am trying to contribute. I am trying to provide a service that benefits someone and that has value.
Yeah.
And that, you know, that's going to work for them.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to get on Facebook and go, hey, yeah, best marketing book coach you've ever seen in your life, because I'm not comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I am comfortable sitting in a room with 10 women and talking about books and talking about things we like and sharing experiences, because
Yeah.
that to me is how I connect with people.
And
So,
honestly, that 10 those 10 women are probably more than really who scroll past you, because this whole views thing, I don't know who actually viewed anything because I don't know how they like determine how many seconds that counts, whatever. So, and I see a lot of people, and I personally enjoy TikTok and Instagram, that I've niched down to only those two. I can't stand
mhm.
any of the X threads. Like everyone gets
I can't
out of
keep up.
control.
Yeah.
Right, but and I love the little trends, I love being part of some of the trends, but in the last few months I've started to really try to step back and analyze them, and while the trends are fun, like you were just saying, are they reaching my audience? So
Mhm.
how can I move this? So how much do people, if they actually do enjoy social media, how much of the trendy stuff versus the other stuff? I'm not even sure what the other stuff would
I
be.
I tend to think, and maybe this is just my personality. Trends are great and they're fun, but
Mhm.
if I am developing a core group of ideal readers,
Right.
they don't care about the trends.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not following me so they can see me walk around with a book on my head, jumping up and down to a certain song. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
because that's not who I am. And if you're following someone because you like what they stand for, or you like the way they speak, or you see like the universal values and topics that we all have experienced, that's more to me a marketing connection that's organic and real, and not so much, oh, let me go put on a costume and pretend I don't know, maybe I'm going to pretend I'm Taylor Swift. That's going to get me a lot of readers, isn't it? Yeah, no.
No. Okay.
So
Yeah.
you have to look at it. You have to research. You have to understand those core pieces. And for me, in my coaching, it's your author brand, which is you.
Mm-hmm.
Not what you write, it's you.
It's
And
you.
then it
Okay.
becomes your writing, because once people start following you, and you're taking them on this journey through the writing of this book. And that's why it's important to start when you start writing, because
Mm-hmm.
this is what you're talking about. You're talking about things that are important to you. You are talking about this book. And one thing I love as a reader is when I get asked questions by an author. So
Yeah.
if I'm in a Facebook group and the author says, well, okay, Megan Quinn did it the other day. And I was just so excited because she had her new Christmas book coming out. She had three different covers she was looking at. And so she was showing them, and then she asked us to vote. And I'm like,
You get to
I'm
be part
for
of
the
it.
green
Yeah.
one. I'm for the green one, because it's
And
like,
if she picks it, you feel like I was
I know.
part of
So
that.
she didn't pick the green one, but it's the one that's coming out for at the Walmart. So guess where I'm going
Mm,
to get green one at the Walmart.
right. Oh, well,
You know,
that was an ingenious. I bet she already had them picked out, but that was genius.
yeah, but that's all right. So if I ask you the question, what do people want to feel?
Mm.
How
They
would
want to
you
be
answer?
part of something, I think.
They want to feel valued.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to hear you. I want you to hear me.
Yeah.
So that to me is that's how I choose people to follow and to read.
Right.
One, the book's got to be good. And I've read
Yeah.
so many that
Yeah.
are not. And I just so badly my writing coaching makes me want to call them up and go, I know you don't want a writing coach, but just if you could have taken this.
Your premise was great. Can we
But
just?
I'm reading a book now that I actually paid for. It wasn't Kindle Unlimited, because I read so much and I like to read different authors just to see how the writing changes. And this writer had a great story, but I got so slogged down by like the 10th chapter. I couldn't finish it. I'm like, and
Yeah.
it makes me sad because there's
I
talent
know.
here. It's a good
Yes.
story, but I don't care how many times she goes fishing and hates it. I mean,
I know.
no,
Yep.
no.
Yep.
But yeah,
Yep.
it's connection, it's your brand, it's understanding your audience, and it's how
Yeah.
you message your audience that reflects your brand,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So I always know when I look at Nora Roberts, I
Yeah.
know what to expect. She does not disappoint. She
Hmm.
goes off in all different directions, but I know that I'm going to get a really well-written, strong female character who has dealt with adversity, all these different things, magic, whatever, which I love those two. But I know that I'm going to get a really good quality book because I know
Yes.
what she puts into her writing, and I know that she's been doing it
Yeah.
for 25 years,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that is how you create your base and continue to grow because people will recommend you, and that's what you want. The referral is the best form of marketing in the world.
Right, right, right. So I'm hearing a little bit from you of like we are the brand, which I think most of us hear, and then we're like, okay, but what I really hear is we don't have to stick only to talking about writing and books. Like we have to find our core values and then maybe find the things that you are willing to share with the world. Like I don't
Mhm.
share my kids with the world. Um, I
Right. Yeah,
don't,
I understand.
but
I wouldn't either.
but you're saying post so your posts or your newsletters, whatever, doesn't always have to be about writing. Like that's not everything about you that you're willing to
No,
share.
because first of all, you are a writer. You can tell stories.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
what it is, right? So I was reading a newsletter the other day by an author, and she was talking about, and I was cracking up. I was like, this is so funny. She was talking about trying to put in a koi pond and then having to sit out there because there was a bird that kept wanting to kill her fish. And she's like, this is random, but this is real life. And it's something that I don't think writers think about. They think when they
No,
put out a
I think you're right.
letter, it
Yeah.
should be, oh, I'm going to launch my book. I'm going to launch my book. I'm going to launch my book. Okay,
Yes. And honestly,
fine.
it makes so much sense, but as you're talking, I'm realizing it's so easy for us to get into that black hole of I have to write a newsletter. What do I write about? When you think you have a lot to write about, like your koi pond or whatever. Like, so just finding those things that you're willing to share. I
Yeah.
think it's the overwhelm. I think you're right. That really tricks the mindset.
It's two, and then one writer that I'm in the Facebook group with, which I love, every Sunday. Well, here's the ultimate is that you are a writer, you indie, traditional, whatever, but you have created a fan base that does your marketing for you.
Yeah. I mean, that is the ultimate goal,
And that
really.
is the ultimate.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the one group that I'm in that I love, it's like every Sunday, what's for dinner? Don't forget dessert. And we all like, I'm having this, this, and this. And then you see, well, do you have a recipe for that? Sure, let me share that with you. And
Right, right,
see
right. They're becoming a community.
in that one moment, you have
Right,
just found someone
right,
else
right,
that likes what you like, that
right.
is attracted to the types of stories you're attracted to.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean when I say it doesn't have to be, I need a huge marketing corporation and they're going to do a strategy for me. It's going to cost me $25,000
It probably won't go
and it
anywhere.
probably won't go anywhere. And see, that's the thing is that people also, the other point, I could talk about this all darn day.
We'll
But
have to have you back for sure.
so a strategy comes before a plan.
Okay.
Make sense, right?
Yeah.
So the strategy is these are the things that I am capable of doing. These are the things that fit into my writing life. This is the time I can devote to marketing. This
Hmm.
is your strategy that I want to have 100 readers. And remember, marketing is a marathon. It is not bam, it happens
No,
overnight.
it
It
is.
doesn't.
Yeah.
There's nurturing that has to happen, but it doesn't have to be bad nurturing. Like it's killing me to do this. But you look at your strategy, what you want to do, and you can do that I like people to use a 3 month increment. So,
Mm,
you know, for this 3 months, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. I'm sticking to my email list and I'm sticking to LinkedIn, whatever.
right.
And that's my strategy. My plan is actually what
Mm,
am I doing each week? What is the content going to be? What
hmm.
do I want to share? And that's another thing I work with writers is like, let's take your content, which you probably already have enough for 3 years of marketing, and let's put it in one place that's accessible. Make your little buckets, right? So
Okay.
this is your writing part that actually talks about your craft. And then maybe this is um, something that is about your specific book. And then over here, you might have something like anecdotes or how I found my setting for my book or whatever. And so you just keep filling these buckets in one location. And when
Okay.
it's time to plan for the 3 months and you go, okay, I want to talk about my writing journey. I want to talk about how I became a writer,
Mm-hmm.
where that went and what that looked like. And then I also want to talk to them about trying to develop this character that's really given me a fit.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's 3 topics for 1 month. And I'm going to use this content that's long form content. Like if you do blogs or something, you can take that and that can be 100 different messages. And you
Right.
also have to remember that you can use the same thing, word it differently, and use it 10 different times, and people won't realize.
Yes. Like the
Because
magazines.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be um, consistent, and you have to realize that the first 3 times a person reads it, they're probably not going to really get it. And then the fourth time, or something's
Right.
going to stick in their mind. They'll be like, oh, and writers go, I don't want to bother anybody. It's like, you don't
Yeah.
even it's like, stop that. And that's the mindset. So you can see there's a lot of different things that
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
to figuring out what's going to work for you. But the biggest thing is it's simple, it's sustainable for you, and it's
Mm-hmm.
authentic. And that's why
Yes.
it's your marketing strategy, Kat, not Teresa's over here,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Yes.
Or Dan's, because they're going to be totally different.
Yep.
And I think that the being in a support group or be and you have to be vet the groups you go into, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because people will break you.
Yes, they will.
They think it's fun, and that's not the type of group you want to be in. But
Or they've been jaded because they didn't have a strategy and now they're just going to tell you not to bother. And
yes, don't do it. Don't do it. It's like, okay, let's use common sense in our
mm-hmm.
marketing.
Mm-hmm.
What can
Mm-hmm.
I do?
Yeah.
What will fit into my writing style? What
Yep.
fits into my life? How much time? And time is a big thing. So
Yes.
if you say, and I don't know how many hours a day you write or how you do your writing schedule, but if you say, I write 2 hours a day and I write only Monday through Friday, so I would look at that and be like, all right, so can you give a half an hour to marketing, or can you,
Mm-hmm.
take
Mm-hmm.
15 minutes to jot down thoughts in this Monday through
Mm-hmm.
Friday thing? And then how do we develop that into something that will work for you that is not painful? Because
Yes.
just
Yes. Honestly, the more you're laying this out, I really think that marketing can become fun. Like,
yeah,
hear me out, writers. It can
yeah,
actually become very fun because you're becoming very comfortable with a book that you spent a lot of time with, that you want people to read. And that's okay to
yeah,
want people to read it. And the more that you have a strategy and you have somebody helping you figure this out. So if they're working with you, like it takes away the overwhelm, which adds the like notches the fun back
it's
up,
fun. Yeah,
and then you can find the little places that you're doing well in. Maybe it's Threads, maybe it's LinkedIn, maybe it's Facebook, maybe it's Instagram, whatever.
yeah. But you got to be willing to test too.
Oh, you got to test.
Not everything works.
Yes.
And that's marketing does require pivots sometime. And I
Yeah,
don't like
right,
that
right.
word, but you have to be realistic and go, okay, I'm going to look and see how many people signed up for my newsletter when I did X for 3 months.
True, true, true.
Wasn't very much.
But
But
if you
then
don't have a strategy, how do you even know where they came from?
how would you, yes, and
And I'm
that's
talking to
part of it.
myself right now. I
But
go into strategy and then I drop off.
and then, well, because then you go, I know what I want. I don't know how to get it.
Yeah, that's so true.
I
That's
don't
so
know
true.
what my
Yeah, yeah,
first
yeah,
step,
yeah.
the
That's where
second,
the
the
plan
third.
comes, right?
That's where the plan comes in, and that's where accountability. But you have to be realistic. You're
Yes.
not going to do it if you hate it. You're
Yeah,
not going to do it if you're not comfortable with it. You're not
right,
going to do it if you haven't thought really specifically about what can I do?
right.
What fits in with my life? And what are my expectations? Because if you think that you're going to create a strategy and create a plan in 3 months and then suddenly 1,000 books are going to fly off the shelf,
It's not gonna happen. No,
I
no.
hope, I wish, but
Right. But that's what I love about you too, is that you're very realistic. I'm very realistic too with my, but I heard something the other day of like, I just need to add 1%. I need to be 1% better today. And I think that's a great, like, I need to do 1% more. The more you do something, the more comfortable you are. Like, I used to sweat during podcast interviews, just be like heart racing. The more you do it, the more comfortable. The more you
yeah,
do social media, the more comfortable, the more marketing, so just all those little things, it's not going to come right away. Like, really, I don't think anyone's bought a book from my social media, but I can now find the fun in connecting with people and seeing how people respond, right? So just getting that little bit
Yeah,
more.
and writers, you're creative. You are a natural creative.
Yeah.
So take those ideas that you have and make them into something that will work for you.
Yeah.
And it's just
But I think it's easier when we work with someone like you than being in our heads. You know what I mean? Like writers are really in their heads.
it is hard to get out of your head.
And
I
it is hard to be like, oh, it's that easy. Like I remember watching my mother-in-law make Spanish recipes, and I always thought that really nutritious, great food would be, Michelin star kind
yeah,
of. And
no.
I go, oh, it's that easy. And I think that's the same thing with marketing. If we have
Yes.
the mother-in-law,
Yeah.
Becky Grogan, telling us it's okay,
I'm
you
your new
just take
mother
the
marketing
fish.
mother-in-law.
Exactly.
Oh,
So
I really, I can't stand when people have a misconception about something
mm,
and it's holding them back. This
yeah,
is your,
yeah,
this is what the main character has that they can't get over because they're
yeah.
thinking wrong about something. And until they get their mind straight and understand that it doesn't have to be as bad as you think it's going to be.
Yes,
And you
yes.
don't have to spend $10,000 and you don't have to do all of these things and be perfectly skinny and have great hair. Nobody cares about that.
Aesthetic.
Yeah. And really, I want real people.
Yeah, yeah.
I always have held writers in very high esteem because I just value and am amazed at what the idea and then all the way through to the end of the book. And
Hmm.
when you see what turns out, I'm like, it's like
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
like having a baby. But I I really want to see writers be able to feel kind of that way about their marketing. Let
Okay.
it be
Yeah, I like
fun,
that.
you know,
Yes.
let it be fun. Enjoy it and learn from it and understand there's no perfection necessary.
Yes. Oh, I
This
love that.
and the size that fits you is not going to fit the other person.
Yes.
And you cannot look at someone else and go, "Oh, well, I have to do what she does," because, well,
Yeah.
no, you don't, because
Yeah.
you're not her.
Yes. Yes. That is so number one. So where can people find you if they're like, yes? I mean, honestly, I think that it's better money spent working with someone like you than some people come onto the podcast having spent $20,000 on a PR agent.
I
And
know.
I know because I talk to them, it doesn't really move the needle as much. What moves the
No.
needle is what you're saying, is being yourself, going out there and getting people to know who you are, and then they're going to buy your book.
Yeah, it's pretty simple when you look at it that way, but that's true. There's several components, and if you look at it and are comfortable with it, then you're most likely going to be successful if you start at
Mm-hmm.
the right time, because that's crucial,
Okay.
is understanding that it's not when you're right at the end, it's when you're at the beginning,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that you can move people along with you and have them expecting the book that's coming out and looking for the next one.
Yes, absolutely.
That's because that's what you want. But if anybody wanted to find me, I am at info@beckythebookcoach.com.
That's easy. We'll have the email and the links in the show notes for sure. And I just think it is the one sticking point for writers that there are so many good books, like you said, and what I want is for them to be able to see the way forward, because as the world changes, even if you're traditionally published, you still have to get out there. And like you said, it doesn't have to be hard, but it feels hard. So we just need someone like Becky to tell us.
But my one thing is if I asked you if I'm a reader and I'm like, okay, Kat, what's my experience going to be with your books?
Ooh, that's a hard question.
And if you can't answer it right off the top of
Mm.
your tongue, then you're not connecting with who you are and what your readers are going to get from you.
Oof. Okay. So we're gonna have everyone contemplate that, and then they're gonna contact you and tell you what that they know. I know, I figured it out. And you know what? It also doesn't have to be figured out right now. I think that is something that you reflect on and you try it, and then you go, okay, I got to tweak that actually. Actually, this is what it's something that, it's not a math test. It is like
Um, It's
figuring out what you're doing, right?
reflection,
Yeah.
reflection and research. And the best way, you know, find who's successful that's like you. What are they doing? Does
Yes.
that resonate with you? Is it something? No, I'm not saying do that, but
Right.
I'm just saying if you're trying to figure out a next step, who's really good at it. I'm not going to
Mhm.
go and, look at Bobo down the street, doesn't sell any books. I'm going to go look at, J.K. Rowling. That's
Yep.
who I'm going to look at.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So there's lots of things you can do. And my greatest wish is that the writers that work with me no longer need me, because then
Mm.
that means that, it's like they're understanding what they can do and how to do it, and they're not scared of it anymore.
Yes.
So kick
Okay.
me to the curb.
I love that. Well, thank you, Becky, for coming on. I'm sure people are going to re-listen to this and write down some notes. And
I'm
I just
grateful that you had me
appreciate
on
you.
here. It's very, very enjoyable to talk with you, Kat. You're
Oh, we'll
wonderful.
definitely have you back on because I'm sure marketing will pivot as much as we hate that word.
Let's talk about stupid marketing terms that don't mean anything.
Anything. Thank you so much.
All right.